Welcome to Sociology Vibes, where we simplify challenging ideas into easy to understand insights. Today, our focus is on American sociologist George Herbert Mead, who lived from 1863 to 1931. Mead made important contributions to sociology, including the symbolic interactionism theory, by studying how the self develops through social interaction. Sociologists define the self as an individual's awareness of themselves as a separate identity and our understanding of who we are. So let's explore some of Mead's main ideas. Our sense of self is social. Mead believed that our sense of self does not exist at birth. Instead, it develops over time through social interactions with people. As we communicate, observe people, and respond to social expectations, we gradually learn how to see ourselves in similar ways to how others see us. For example, if your family treats you or treats us like the smart one, we might start acting that way. If teachers ignore or label us as lazy, we might start to believe this too. Over time, our self-identity reflects the messages we receive from our social environment. The I and the me. Mead explained that the self has two parts and labeled these as the I and the me. The I represents the spontaneous, unpredictable, creative, and individual side of the self. This is the unique part of us that expresses itself in the moment. The me represents the part of the self that is shaped by society, social expectations, and how we believe people see us. The me represents the social side of the self that follows social rules and roles. The me reflects how we believe other people see us and reminds us how we are expected to behave. For example, the me might remind you to raise your hand in class because that is a social expectation, instead of shouting out an answer. Our behavior is a balance between the I and the me. And according to Mead, the me considers social rules and expectations, while the I responds in a more personal and sometimes unpredictable way. Together, these two parts of the self influence how people interact in everyday life. Role-taking. For Mead, role-taking is the process that allows individuals to develop a social self. Mead talked about role-taking because he wanted to explain how the self develops through social interactions. People learn who they are by imagining how others see them. And we begin to understand ourselves by taking the role of another person and looking at ourselves from their point of view. Mead believed that children learn role-taking in stages through play and games. In the play stage, children learn to take the role of one person at a time, such as a superhero or a firefighter. While in the game stage, children practice imagining multiple roles simultaneously, as is often the case when children learn team sports. By imagining what it's like to be someone else, children start understanding how society works, and they develop a self-awareness, empathy, and ability to get along with others and fit in. When you're at a job interview and you start thinking, what does this employer want to see from me? You're role-taking by putting yourself in their shoes. This is how we learn social norms, which are the unwritten rules about how to act in different situations. Eventually, according to Mead, children develop an understanding of society's social expectations, and he called this the generalized other. George Herbert Mead believed that our sense of self develops through our interactions with people. As we grow up, we learn to see ourselves from the perspective of other people, a process he called role-taking. Over time, we internalize society's expectations, which Mead called the me, while still maintaining our more spontaneous side, which Mead called the I. Next time you create a social media post, you might realize thoughts like, how will my friends react? Will this make me look rude? Will my professor or employer see this? George Herbert Mead helps us notice how much of our identity is influenced by the social expectations and relationships, and not just personal preferences. We can think critically about the messages that we've internalized and how we've come to accept them, including becoming aware of the process of learning social expectations and behaviors rather than just passively accepting them. And that makes sociology worth exploring further, don't you think? Thank you for watching. Be sure to comment below with your thoughts, questions, or any topics you'd like us to explore next. Let's keep the conversation going and our community growing. See you in the next Sociology Vibes